Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla. Welcome to the 2016 V-Twin Parts Gear Guide. Now for those of you who are new to the Gear Guide series, this is like Yom Kippur and 4th of July all rolled together here at RevZilla. We get out there, we use some of these parts, we're going through things, and we're giving you really the best of what 2016 has to offer. We're bringing you some of the most influential parts that you're gonna see this year. So we're gonna slice this video up fairly simply. We're gonna talk about stuff that makes your bike run good. After that, we're gonna move into things that make your bike look good, and we're gonna round things out with a section talking strictly about parts that are gonna make you feel good on your motorcycle. If at any point you want to hear me stop yammering, click the menu, click to the point in the video that is most appropriate for you. Don't forget too, this is part of our larger overall Gear Guides collection. We've done the homework on a bunch of different products: boots, helmets, jackets, Bluetooth communication devices. Regardless of what your passion is, we've gone out there and figured out what the best parts are for you. Right now though, let's get into making your bike run well. Now we're going to kick off the 2016 V-Twin Gear Guides with a product that might be a bit controversial because we're actually not starting with Harley Davidson. I'm going to direct your attention down here to these Reinhardt mufflers. These are made specifically for the new Indian Scout. Now those of you who recall seeing our Indian Scout review, we really loved the sound of that bike once it was uncorked. One of the things we have noticed though is that most of the aftermarket mufflers we're seeing coming out for the Indian, unfortunately, look a little bit different than factory. Some of them are pretty short and pretty aggressive, which doesn't necessarily marry up with the classic good looks of the Indian Scout. Enter Reinhardt with their slip-on exhaust here. These look very, very close to the factory setup on those. So if you love the way your Indian looks, but you don't necessarily like the sewing machine sound you're getting out of it, a set of Reinhardt mufflers can really give your bike a bit more voice. It's gonna look very similar to stock, but it'll make the bike sound significantly more authoritative. Moving on down the line, we have a set of Excel Super Stealth coils for Harley. Now these are going to be available for quite a few motorcycles. Use our bike finder, we're going to show you the ones that fit your bike. But the reason I love these is these are COP, coil on plug setups. What these do is eliminate the spark plug wires on your bike. Harley Davidsons are about the last vehicle on planet Earth that comes with spark plug wires. They look old-fashioned, they look messy, and Excel Stealth coils help get them out of the way. I see these as being particularly beneficial for those of you guys who are on late model Softails. If you're looking to get rid of the seat tube on your motorcycle, it is made very possible by Excel Stealth coils. The seat tube on those bikes really just serves as a place to mount the coil. So once you move the coils onto the engine themselves, you now have a cleaned up middle section of your motorcycle. Keep in mind too, these things are finned. We have a black setup here. They also have another set in natural finish. These fins here really do blend in very nicely with the engine. Gives a nice modern look to the left side of your bike, the part that really a lot of people tend to forget about. Moving on down the line here, this is a product I think is going to be huge for 2016. This is the Arlen Nest Twin Sucker Air Cleaner. I love this. This is a modern take on the 90-degree elbow air cleaner, and I think this is something that's going to really resonate with a lot of riders. You're seeing right now a lot of bikes coming out of even a Harley factory now with this style air cleaner on there. Check out that new Dyna Lowrider S. But this takes it a little bit further. There's some additional styling here that you're not getting on some of the factory pieces. Obviously, this does have twin intakes, so it's a little bit different look than the single ones. The other thing I think that I really dig about this are these stainless jacketed filters. You don't have that weird pink air filter look. Instead, you've got a nice business looking filter on the front of your motorcycle. Check out this wrinkle finish here too. Blends in nicely with most of the wrinkle black finishes you're gonna see on a modern Harley Davidson. For that reason, I think that this is going to be a big seller in 2016 on a lot of Harley Davidson motorcycles. Let's move on down the line. Next up, we have an S&S MR103 Easy Start Cam Kit. Boy, this is not the most exciting looking product, but I'm telling you, it's jam-packed with features. I'm super happy about these. Anybody who has read any of our Common Tread articles or perhaps seen some of our videos knows that I'm a big proponent of slapping a cam or set of cams into a Harley Davidson to get a little bit more oomph out of them. The MR103 Easy Start offers a lot of benefits here. First is a bolt-in cam. If you're rocking a 103 motor, these things slide right in. You're not gonna have to go through and change up your heads and do any type of machine work. These are a bolt-in product, which I really like. You also notice the gears here too. These are available in both chain drive and gear drive. So if you want to keep your bike rock stock, you want to stick with the chain drive system, the MR103s do come in that configuration. For those of you guys who want to eliminate the chain drive and go back to a gear setup, you have that option as well. Now the cool part about these is that they are easy start cams, and what that means is there's this little bump here. What this does is actually holds the exhaust valve open just a little bit. It really reduces compression. So what you're going to find is you're drawing a lot less amperage from your starter because things are made a little bit easier in terms of starting the motorcycle. What it also does too is eliminates compression releases. So if you do want to have a big inch twin cam motor, you can do so, and you can also dual plug it without giving up one of those spots in the head to comp releases. S&S makes a killer product. I think we're going to see a lot of these moving out the door in 2016. Rounding things out, we have a set of Vance and Hines grenades mufflers sitting up here. Now keep in mind, we're showing you just the mufflers. This is actually a full system exhaust. I really do like this pipe. It's entirely different than anything else we saw coming out the door. These hit the shelves really very late in 2015. I think we were gonna move 1 billion of these. Super distinctive looking, super short. This is a loud exhaust. If you're trying to piss off the neighbors and piss off the cops, the Vance & Hines Grenades exhaust system is the one you wanna look at. Very short, very racy, super aggressive. We're seeing this for some really cool bikes out there. I'm really excited to see and hear these things out there on the road. Now that we've covered some of the items here, remember, click that info button. You can always shop the whole collection in our 2016 gear guide. As for right now though, we're gonna head on into our next section, which is looking good. Alrighty, I'm ready to spit at you about looking good on your motorcycle. Now you should know that this stuff up here primarily is for making it look good, but there really is a lot of function behind some of this form as well. Let's kick it off. Down here at the end, we have a West Eagle bikini fairing. I think this thing is super hot. I really like this fairing. Easy install on a lot of motorcycles, especially you guys with narrow glides. These things go right on, they're cake. I love these because they're fiberglass. Check out this finish on here. This is ready to accept paint. All your guy has to do is blast this with a little bit of color, throw it on your bike. You got a cool color match club style motorcycle. This look has been hot now for a couple years, and I think there's no sign of that trend abating in 2016. Again, check out some of the factory bikes, check out some of those guys from Unknown Industries. That mini fairing look is awesome. And the other thing too is, again, moving back to that function thing, it's gonna give you just a little bit of wind protection. It's not like being behind a whole fairing, but it will keep some of the wind off of your chest, reduce some of your buffeting. Moving on down the line, this is a product I am really excited by, JW Speaker Adaptive Headlight. Now for those of you who are not in the car game, the off-road game, you might not have heard of JW Speaker. Speaker is a top-notch name in lighting, and now they're attacking motorcycles. Now the adaptive word in that headlight is key here. Those of you who have zipped around on a motorcycle before, you understand that if you have a fork-mounted light, you are counter-steering. Typically, the light is actually going different than the way you're turning. You're aiming the light in exactly the spot you don't need it. Enter the JW Speaker Adaptive Headlight. This thing is super cool. It can actually tell when you are heading into a turn. You'll notice there's these rows of lights in here. As you head into a turn and you counter-steer, these lights will light off to help fill in the dark areas your headlight is leaving behind. This is technology at its finest. This thing is absolutely awesome, 7-inch. It's a bolt-in for touring bikes. I think it's gonna be a great upgrade, especially for those of you who are on older bikes who didn't have the LED daymakers. But even those of you with the LED daymaker, you're gonna take a step up too if you throw one of these in there, again, due to that adaptive functionality. Moving on down the row, you can see here we have a Kuryakin tag bracket. Now this is a basic but awesome piece. Everybody needs a way to mount your tag on your bike. I really like this one for a couple reasons. First, 3-hole mounting on here. This is standard on a lot of Harley Davidsons. Second, you see this thing is curved. You will actually form your license plate to fit inside of this baby. It gives that custom kind of a Frenched look to this thing. The other thing I love too is they use this flush mount hardware here. Flush mount hardware looks fantastic. It gives the whole plate sort of a finished off appearance. And then of course this is a lay down style as well. So instead of having that goofy tag bracket just popping right up out of your fender, this thing lays back a little bit, brings a little bit more streamlined look to the back end of your bike. You guys having fun? I'm having fun up here. I'm really excited about a lot of these products. I'm hoping you guys are too. If you're as excited as I am, click that subscribe button. If you're not and you think I'm a nut job, click the subscribe button anyway, but then leave me a nasty comment down below in the comments section. Moving on, check out these Kuryakin Heavy Industries mirrors. This is a product I'm getting pretty stoked about. Kuryakin for years and years, I think, has sort of leaned towards the billet, the gaudy. They're definitely a loud sort of an accessory. Heavy Industries mirrors here, you can see, take that in another direction. These really are, again, as the name would imply, sort of an industrial look. You can see the hex head hardware. These bezels are replaceable, so you can sort of mix and match colors and styles in terms of how the mirror is actually put together. This is also part of their larger other heavy industries collection, so you can again bring kind of a cohesive look to their bike. Anybody who's familiar with Kuryakin knows their catalog is huge. If you don't know what I mean, just tap Kuryakin right into the search bar on RevZilla.com. You'll see they have a billion products. I'm really excited to see some of the stuff they're bringing out. They're bringing a lot of function, whereas before they might have been strictly form-based. Moving on down the line here, this is the looking good section, so let's chat about this next piece here. I'm pretty excited about this, the Memphis Shades fairing trim. Those of you guys on Batwing bikes, you know that transition between your glass and your fairing itself can be a little bit plain, especially those on street glides. You don't really have anything there from the factory. It just looks plain. Memphis Shades offers this beautiful trim, couple different styles, couple different finishes and colors you can choose from. Helps brighten up that area on the front of your bike. And the other thing I love about this stuff, easy install. Couple bolts, boom, these are in, and the front end of your bike is looking better. This really is very representative of the looking good section of the 2016 V-Twin Gear Guide. Let's head on down a little bit further. This is a favorite of mine, Joker stubby pegs. These are really, really nifty. I like these for a couple of reasons. First, you can see these things are all aluminum. Great grip on these. You're gonna get good road feel too. For those of you who like to ride hard, instead of having that factory rubber on there that sort of insulates you from what your bike is doing, you've got a direct connection to the road. Now these are pretty nifty for a couple of reasons. First, check out this mounting in here. You can see this bolt here attaches to the clevis. So what that allows you to do is actually mount these at any angle you like. So whether you have forward controls, you need to mount these so your foot can sort of head out at an angle, or if you've got a set of mids and you want your foot flat, doesn't matter, you can order the same pegs and they'll bolt right on. This is especially good for those of you guys who maybe have forward controls and you have P-pegs on your bike, you want them to match, you can order the exact same part number and use them and just orient them a little bit differently. The other thing I think is really cool about these, you'll notice this bolt too here at the end of the clevis. What this does too is allows you to sort of fine tune how these actually sit. I'm sure some of you have had a favorite set of pegs you've moved from bike to bike, and this part of the clevis right here starts to wear down. And eventually your pegs droop a little bit when you're looking at them from the rear. It doesn't really look that great. So what this actually allows you to do is sort of adjust the angle to which those sit. So you can always have a nice, fresh, flat looking foot peg. Or if you like your foot canted at sort of a weird angle, this can sort of help you get comfy on your motorcycle. Joker stubby pegs, super cool. Can't wait to find a set, throw them on one of my bikes. Rounding things out, we have the lowbrow Tsunami fender. This is a fender I think is really, really nifty for a lot of folks. Lowbrow is really, really great at bringing out products for people who want that custom bike look, but maybe don't have access to a full shop. The Tsunami fender is going to be great for those of you guys on Sportsters. Whether you're on rubber mount, solid mount, sporty, they've got a fender for you, and these bolt right into your existing motorcycle. You've got to trim your frame horns a little bit, do a little bit of sculpting, but really you're removing material. You don't have to add anything in, you don't have to fabricate, you don't have to weld. This really is a bolt-in sort of a solution. You can see this one up here is finished off in brushed aluminum. This thing also comes in like a gray electroplate finish, like an anodized, and then you can also grab this in black as well. Regardless of what you're running, they've got something that's gonna bolt right into your bike. This aluminum finish here really excites me. You can see this thing, again, brushed finish, looks kind of nifty, but for those of you who really wanna bring it out and go crazy, you can polish this thing out, get that old British bike look too. This fender is going to look slamming, and now what Lowbrow has done is brought that cool fender look to those of you guys who still want to run a swing arm bike. Just because you aren't on a rigid doesn't mean you want a bike that looks dorky. All this stuff I think is pretty decent. I'm excited about a lot of it. Like I had said, drop me some comments down below if you guys agree, disagree, think I'm batty. Until then though, let's move on to the next section, feeling good. Okay, let's close things out. We're at the feeling good section. This is the part of the video where we're gonna show you all the stuff that's gonna make you feel comfy on your motorcycle. Let's kick it off. Down here you can see we have a Lepera Lil Nugget seat. Man, I love this saddle. So this is a, as you can see, super slammed, bare bone saddle. This thing is absolutely minimalist, but it does have a cool tuck and roll pleat job on here. This is really a style piece, but you are going to feel good in this puppy because of the construction. Marine grade vinyl top, gonna stay looking good all the time, but you've also got a steel base plate in this puppy. It's not gonna give up and go wimpy like your factory saddle. So not only are you getting a saddle with the little nugget that looks significantly better than your stock piece, but you're probably also going to get equal to or greater comfort sitting on one of these puppies. Moving on down the line, you can see here a piece that you may or may not be able to recognize off the bike. These are Kuryakin heat shields. Specifically, these are for those of you guys on touring bikes. Anybody who's whipping around in a touring rig knows very well the feeling of roasted thigh that comes along with a touring bike, especially in stock form. That catalytic converter is just sending all that heat up your right thigh. Absolutely killer. These are a good way to sort of deflect some of that heat away. It's usually not too bad when you're at speed, but those of you guys who are doing low speed work, any of you guys in parades, you know that you'll just wind up cooking back there. This is such a good idea. You may even notice you're going to see a product very similar to the Kuryakin actually on factory OEM HD motorcycles nowadays. Check out that right side. On a lot of the newer touring bikes, you're going to see a heat shield already baked right in. Classic example of Harley checking something out in the aftermarket, realizing it works and putting it in there. If that's not a good enough testament to grab a set of these from Curie, I don't know what is. Moving on, you can see here we have a favorite of mine, Hogtunes speaker and amp kit for Street Glide. Now, Hogtunes makes speaker and amp kits for all sorts of bikes. Don't be afraid to check out our website if you don't have a Street Glide. But this particular kit I really do love for a variety of reasons. One of the things you should know about Hogtunes, if you're not intimately familiar with them, is that these guys make parts for Harleys. They're not like some of the other brands that are just adapting car audio stuff to work on a motorcycle. Instead, this stuff is engineered from the ground up to work on a Harley touring motorcycle. This package is really efficient. It's going to give you everything you need to get way better sound out of your stock Street Glide. And I really like, too, the fact they use factory connectors all over here. There's like no cutting, splicing, wiring. There's none of that necessary when you go with a Hogtunes kit. If you're interested in this stuff, check out a couple of our detailed breakdown videos. Really an information and feature-packed product. Couldn't get to everything here, but just know this is some top-notch stuff. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Heading on down, you can see we have a set of mid controls here by TC Brothers. These are specifically for Sportsters. I know right now mid controls really are all the rage on sporties, and it kind of makes sense. It really does allow you to control the bike well. However, I check out Chopper Swap or Chop Call. I'm hitting the swap meets, and these are hard to find. Factory mid control kits are really in high demand, and they're really expensive if you buy all the pieces direct from the dealer. TC Brothers got you covered. They make a super solid mid-control kit, bolts right on. You're not doing a whole bunch of fabrication work to get your feet back underneath you where they might be a little bit more comfortable. I love TC Brothers stuff. I run a modified set of their controls on one of my old shovel heads. Cannot endorse these things thoroughly enough. So let's head on down. We're going to round some stuff out in the little stuff shelf here. We're going to work at the bottom and kind of head on upstairs here. Kuryakin has now made a throttle boss. I love this piece of equipment. This is something that is going to kind of help keep your right hand from cramping up when you're given those long days in the throttle. I love this thing because Kuryakin traditionally has had the throttle boss attached to their ISO grips to bolt in. It works really well. The only problem is you have to have a set of Curie grips to use it. They recognize there's some people out there who don't necessarily want to run Curie grips but do need a throttle boss. This is a great low-cost item, especially if you're maybe at that next level of TZ Cash where we bump you into the next level. This can get very, very affordable, so just keep that in mind when you're out there shopping on the website. Next to it, Drag Specialties mirror extensions. This could be the product up here I feel offers the greatest bang for the buck. If you're anything like me, a lot of the time you love the look and the function of a Harley mirror, you're just not in the right spot. These are the item to purchase. These come in a couple different finishes, couple different heights. What these are going to allow you to do is hook up to your factory mirrors very unobtrusively and move them up and possibly out a little bit, depending on how your mirrors are mounted. I really like these because for those of you who like to keep an OEM look on some of your bikes, like I often do, this is the way to fly. You're going to get better function out of your mirrors, but it's not going to look like something gaudy or weird, something that didn't come from the factory on your motorcycle. Again, I would tell you this is one of those items probably that you want us to tack onto in order to push you into that next level of TZ Cash. Rounding things out, we have a set of Avon custom contour grips. This is another product I use on one of my motorcycles. I have an Evo chopper. I use these things on there. I really do like them. This rubber is fantastic on here. Stays sticky in wet weather. So for those of you guys who are cruising around when it rains out, these are going to stay kind of tacky. It's not like some of those other grips where it gets wet and they start getting real slippery. But the people I think who are really going to most enjoy these, folks who are on metric bikes, maybe you're on a sport bike or another metric cruiser coming onto a Harley. Moving from a 7/8 inch handlebar to a 1-inch handlebar can leave you feeling like you got a handful of grip. Harley grips just tend to be a little bit larger than their metric counterparts. Because these are such a slim grip, I feel like this is the grip for folks who like something a little bit smaller in their hands. So if you have a Harley and you feel like your hands are just super, super open because you've got that large grip on there, switch to a set of Avon custom contours. You might be pleasantly surprised to find that it feels a lot more familiar to you. Now that rounds out the feeling good section of the 2016 V-Twin Parts Gear Guide, but it also finishes off the gear guide itself. Click that info button on your computer or your fancy internet capable cell phone and check out all of the products in the 2016 gear guide. You can watch some of our detailed product breakdowns and learn a little bit more about some of the products you may be interested in. Keep in mind too, this is part of our larger cornucopia of gear guides. Whether you're looking for a new helmet, some boots, a jacket, we've got gear guides out there to show you the very best of what you can expect to see this year. If you need immediate assistance, do not be shy. Get a hold of one of our gear geeks. See us at RevZilla.com, or you can always get one on the phone live and in color, 877-792-9455. I'm Lemmy, and I'm out of here.